Welcome everyone to Cinema Regulars, the movie review show where we see so many movies in theaters that the employees know us by name and they don't ask us what movies we're seeing, they ask us how many. Now today on the docket, for our first movie, we have Merrick and Taylor joining us. We'll be taking a look at Until Dawn. Following that up, we will be taking a look at the newest Ryan Coogler movie, Sinners. The Accountant 2, the sequel to the first one, clearly, obviously. And then we'll be rounding off with the newest Blumhouse movie, Drop. All right. Be sure to subscribe because it really helps us out. Be sure to use the timestamps below to skip ahead to your favorite movie or skip ahead just to the rankings if that's all you care about. Without further ado, let us get jumping right into our first movie, Until Dawn. Isaac, take her away, please.
1 year after her sister disappeared, Clover and her friends head to the remote valley where she vanished to search for answers. Exploring an abandoned visitor center, they soon encounter a masked killer who murders them one by one. However, when they mysteriously wake up at the beginning of the same night, they're forced to relive the terror over and over again. So that description just says fuck you to the entire first 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, pretty much. Uh, Taylor, Merrick, glad you guys can join us for this movie.
Yeah.
We actually recently, both Merrick and Taylor, actually did a run of Until Dawn in the past few months. So the game itself very fresh in their minds. What did you guys think of the movie?
Hashtag not my Until Dawn.
Ah,
This this was not Until Dawn.
No, it's
This
yeah,
not.
was
it's,
not.
it's it's not even not my Until Dawn. It's just not Until Dawn.
That's very true.
At all
It was.
whatsoever.
Wait, go, Mo? What?
It's not Until Dawn at all whatsoever.
Until Dawn in name only. Self-identifying
Literally.
Until Dawn is what I've been calling it.
That's good.
Not before
All right.
morning,
Yeah. Not.
if you will.
I just thought it was such, they just. If this was a completely different, and I know everybody's been saying this, but I'm just gonna reiterate it. Like, if this was a completely different movie and they called it, something completely different, they paid money to use the name Until Dawn,
They did, yeah.
and still the movie had nothing to do. Like, you wasted all that copyright money. What?
Mm-hmm.
But like, if they had put this under a different name, it would have been pretty decent. Like, I will say one thing about it that was positive, which I really did have to search, to be honest, but I thought some of the kills were pretty okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
a lot of the.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say not super Saw level kills, but some of them were like, oh, that was not bad actually. I enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the one thing I can say this movie's good with is when it does practical effects, they look all right. Like
Yeah.
the way that the masked killer looked, like all of, like how his face was like missing half of it, and like he didn't have any gums or whatever, and like the Wendigos themselves look kind of weird, but like the one that's like half still like mid transformation looks all right. I like the way they look,
Well, I
but
think that's because that the Wendigos are meant to be like malnourished and like skinny and bony, and like you can't like
Mhm.
do that to a person legally. I think. Uh,
Uh,
so they just had to be kind of like thicker monsters. Um,
yeah.
But I
but
think
I
those go ahead.
no, I think as far as the kills go, I think some of them were like serviceable, but like nothing really new in the horror genre. Except
Hmm.
for when the masked psycho got killed, when they used the sledgehammer to just bash his head in on the ground, that looked phenomenal. Like if you told me that
Hmm.
they like put like a pig's head or like like some animal head in there to squish it for real, I would believe you, because it looked fairly like real blood and guts and brains and stuff.
Yeah,
Like I was
it
surprised
looked pretty good.
how much of that they just showed.
Yeah,
Onto
I
the
will
negative.
agree with that.
Yeah, on to the negatives.
On to the negatives. Let me just say this out of the way because actually this movie has really like hurt me because I loved the game
Mm-hmm.
so much.
It's
Like
one
you all
of
know that you watched
yeah,
me do my playthrough, and
it's the
I'm just
best games for Supermassive. Like it's widely renowned as like their best game, and it's everybody's favorite. So there was a lot riding on this, but
Yeah.
as you were saying,
yeah, no, you're completely right, and everyone loves it. But that's the whole thing is they put in all of these little Easter eggs, I'll call them, but they did nothing for the plot
yeah,
at all, in my opinion. And correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I'm just blinded by hate and I'm seeing red right now. But
Mm.
um I think they just pulled the classic, oh, let's put in a few, like for example, obviously like they did the Josh cameo, which wasn't even, by the way, who told me that?
can't
Yeah,
call it a
Isaac,
cameo.
tell us about that.
Yeah, no, that's stupid because the picture that they used for him isn't even like a picture of Rami Malek or something. It's not also not even a picture of Josh from the game. It's a test render picture. So from before the game even was finalized, it's one of their test renders of Rami Malek's face that they chose a picture for.
It was concept
Like,
art.
Yeah, basically.
but the
Crazy.
fact that they just did shit like that, like, just to please the people who are going because they see the title in the same font and the same whatever, and they're like, oh my god, it's an Until Dawn movie. And they just get, I mean, like, okay, the mask. I'm sure the masked killer thing, that was an allusion to the game. They had the hourglass, which, by the way, the hourglass was literally only in the Until Dawn games poster.
Mm-hmm.
So like they took that and ran. And they just did it to like, I don't try to save the fans and be like, oh, we did this at least. So you have to like it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But like it did nothing to serve the plot. You could do it with any other thing. It could have been not even Josh's file at all, and I would have felt no different. You know what I mean?
Honestly, it would have been kind of cool. Like, if they were gonna do shit like that, it would have been cool to get more, like, stuff from, like, the Dark Pictures. Like, if they were gonna show, like those case files, I would have rather them have, like,
Oh, no
stuff.
spoils.
I would have rather them have stuff, like, with characters from the other games. Like, from Dark Pictures and stuff like that.
Dude, if
Like,
they
that would
had
be cool.
Quarry, I would have shit my pants.
Yeah, that's what I actually had to look up because there was that other file there next to Josh's, and I was like, "Is that someone in the quarry?" No, it's just some
No,
random dude. There are some
not my
people,
loves.
the few psychotic people that actually think this movie was good. They they were like, "Oh, maybe it's a sequel. I would love that," and it's like, please don't.
No.
I would
No,
rather them
prequel, I
not
see
do
people
anything.
saying.
Okay,
Prequel.
so
No,
allow
no, I'm
me
saying
allow
Elias. What
allow
Elias is like alluding to a sequel that they
Debunk
might
it,
do.
and
Cal,
it's not. Yeah,
debunk.
okay. I will take this as my doorway to come in and debunk the prequel theory here. I will do this in several points. Point number 1, the Wendigos. How they are functioning. In the movie Until Dawn, it makes absolutely no sense, okay? So let's back up and
Mhm.
say in the game, they are a I forget what was it, Algonquin or something, whatever Native American
Okay.
tribe it was. It was a spirit of their folklore. It inhabited the mountains for like forever, and several years ago, like several decades ago in the game, there was a cave in, and the miners ate each other, And that's what awakens the Wendigo spirit. In damn near every single iteration of the Wendigo, they're pretty much agreement on one thing, is that they are spirits of hunger, and that you become a Wendigo by eating human flesh, by cannibalism. That's the only way to get it. They even made a point in the game where one of the characters got bit on the neck, and there was a decision whether to shoot her or not. And then it turns out, like, hey, you can be scratched, you can be bitten, part of you can be eaten off, and you will be fine because you have to eat to become a Wendigo. And in the movie, they're just randomly on, like, night 13, and they're like, we're becoming Wendigos. It's like, why? Doesn't make any sense. So
yeah, the only person in the movie we saw, like, become a Wendigo properly was that one dude that he locked in a cell. Like, from, like, his research or whatever, and he ate the other guy in there.
He was already a Wendigo by the time he was eating the guy, so that doesn't make any sense anyways. So what they're trying to set up here... Sorry, this is very all over the place because the movie's all over the place, so I'm trying to make sense here.
At least you're on brand.
The biggest problem, okay, obviously, is that it's nothing like the game. But even if you took everyone else's advice and put the real game aside and try to enjoy it as its own movie, the glaring problem in the movie is that it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It doesn't explain why they're all turning into Wendigos. It doesn't explain where all the, like, where the psycho and the witch and where all the monsters every night are coming from, and it doesn't explain how and why the night keeps starting over. You're just meant to they just shrug their way through it and say that's what happens, and they don't even say that's what happens. They don't even address it at all. So what I believe that they are trying to say is that this is they're trying to say it's a prequel. It's not. They're trying to say that it's a prequel to the game, and Dr. A.J. Hill kind of some way latches onto, like, a victim. In this movie, it was, whatever the fuck her name was. Clover?
Over.
And uses their mental trauma to physically manifest her problems as monsters for him to study it. But
even if they do that, that doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make sense in the movie, and it makes even less sense in the game because Josh is the psycho. Like, that's something he is. That's something that he used as a plan to get back at his friends. The Wendigos have been there for decades before he even went through his trauma. And
yeah, with the miners.
Exactly, with the miners. They've been in there for, like, decades. There was all this stuff. It doesn't fit, okay? Like, no matter what he's doing or how he's doing it, it won't fit. They're trying to shove a square movie into a round game. It doesn't fit that way because you don't understand the game and you don't even understand your own movie.
Yeah, it just kind of yada yadas its way through a lot of stuff. And also, every character, there is only one character in this whole movie that I actually am like, oh, you're kind of a sane human being. And that's the one that just wants to leave. That's like the odd man out, the guy who drove. Like, because he's the one that's sitting there and he's
retard.
And he's he's idiot. Yeah. He is an idiot. But, like, at the very least, he's, like, trying to be like, we can just go.
No, but he wants to go when, like, half of their friends are dead already.
Well,
that's an asshole move, Loki.
Well, I mean, a little bit when you get to the point where it's like,
Isaac, didn't you see there was the nondescript giant Godzilla monster amongst the fog out there? They couldn't go anywhere.
Oh, right.
Yeah, what was that, though?
I can rant one last time before I hand it over to somebody else again.
Please.
I'm so mad about this movie. I was willing to give it a proper shot because there were things about it that I thought were really interesting. particularly the giant monster out in the fog, the bug that was inside burrowing in her face,
Mm-hmm.
and the like cloaked and masked gigantic guy in the hallway. And what do I get? But about 2 seconds of each of those things. Because
You get
Bro.
what you saw in the trailer for each of those.
the
and that was
giant
it.
thing out in the fog is just basically just like you can't just drive away even if you have the card. There's a thing out there, you can't do it. That's off. That's the out of bounds monster on a video game. You know those
Yeah.
games like on where you go too far out in the ocean and the giant monster just eats you, and it's like, okay, I can't go
Yeah.
that way then, I guess. That's what that
Gold
thing
Leviathan
is.
quest.
Yeah, the ghost Leviathan,
It's just
exactly.
like-
And then the bug and the giant guy in the hallway, they were literally just yada 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 into the movie because they skip over like 8 nights.
Yeah.
Because they're there for
Mhm.
13 nights. They have like 4 nights on screen, and then the next night they're just like, oh, we've been here 5 nights now. And then
Yeah.
they're just like, no, it's 13 actually. Look at the book. It's like, where the fuck did that all go? And it's like, we must have forgot them. How? Why? That doesn't make any sense. That
Yeah.
defeats the purpose of this, actually.
Yeah.
And then he just scrolls through his phone. He made TikToks of like all the things that they were going through every night. And like the things that were on there for 6 seconds were like way more interesting than the shit that they were actually doing on screen.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
brought this up to you afterwards. If it would be one thing, if it would have been like you had night 1 in its entirety, and then you had like night 2, right?
Mhm.
And then they have another night which they think is 3, but it's actually like night 5 or something like that. Like if you would have it where like they were misremembering what night they were on because like of the trauma they're going through, that's something. But to literally only remember the first 4 nights and nothing else makes no sense. Like if they would have skipped through and like shown a little bit more or whatever,
If they had done
like, that
a
would have been a little better.
montage at least, and they could just plow through all those, even that would have been better than just like swiping through your phone and seeing like 4 seconds of, hey, what we missed. And it was better than the shit you actually did.
Last time on Until Dawn,
Yeah.
freaking
Also, another thing is like I know what they were trying to do, but the game design isn't even like that. You can't just like, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah, I know what
how do I
exactly
explain
what
it?
you
How do
mean.
I explain it? It's like you can't start over. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
can't
so
be like, oh,
they wanted it to be like a Groundhog Day thing. They even made a reference to that in the game or in the movie. But it's different every time, so it doesn't repeat, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, they try to be like, oh, if it's the same thing every time, you stop being scared of it, so it's different. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense either. Anyways, so what they're trying to claim is that it's borrowing the, replayability and go back and change things aspect of the game. Except they don't know that there isn't one. If you want to undo a mistake you did or go a different route, you have to restart
you have
the
to
game
finish
entirely.
or finish it and start a whole new
Yeah,
playthrough.
or
Yeah.
finish it and start a whole new playthrough again, which is the same as every other game ever.
The only function that has to fix the mistake is the quarry after you finish your playthrough.
Yeah, and you're technically not really supposed to do that. I mean, I guess.
Right, but if they
could.
were like, "Oh, well, they did it once." Okay, yeah, but not even for that was their first game and you're taking something from their last game, like it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
yeah.
And well, because the thing of Until Dawn, the hardest like theme of it is the butterfly effect. Like the choices you make have permanent and drastic consequences.
But like,
Yeah.
what? I didn't see that in the movie at all. It's just die or live with no other consequences to your relationships
Right.
at
It doesn't.
all.
They
Yeah, it doesn't
literally-
matter what
they
you do
literally
because it's
even-
just gonna restart the next night. So there is no.
They literally
Right.
even
effect.
say that in the movie. Like in the movie, they're like, it doesn't matter. We got plenty of time. We got plenty of tries. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. And then they throw in one line at one point where it's like, somehow if you know you don't have another chance, it just means more. And then they immediately bring that back up like 2 nights later and everything. And it's like, fuck you. Like this is
That
so
didn't
dumb.
even sound like they were talking about like butterfly effect or anything. That was just more like, hey, like if we don't get it right this time, we die
YOLO.
for real and we don't come back. So
Yeah.
whatever.
There were so many strings they were pulling on for this movie, and honestly, if they would have fully fleshed out like 3 or 4 of them, rather than grabbing a whole handful and then just dropping them on the ground, like this could have been a decent movie. If it had nothing to do with Until Dawn, and they would have fleshed out the few things that were actually really cool about it.
It already
Like-
doesn't have anything to do with Until Dawn.
Yes, but what I mean is if it didn't have Until Dawn attached to it. But
Man,
what I
it's
mean
got
is if it
the-
didn't.
It's got the name.
It's
In the
it.
same font.
Yeah.
But
But it's
It
like,
the Josh file on the table, Merrick. Checkmate.
you know, if this was a different movie, it would be better.
It's true. It
It,
still wouldn't be
this
good
movie
because
was
the ending doesn't-
not this.
The
but-
ending doesn't make any sense. The explanation, there isn't one. And they just
There's
have
not an
bullshit-
explanation. All the Supermassive games, one of their main things, other than having to choose and your decisions,
Mystery.
Making sure to explain what's
it
going on.
explains all of the games. Explain what's going on.
Especially
movie
the
Like
does
in
not-
detail.
especially the dark
It does
pictures,
not
they give you like
yet.
full they give you a map of clues so you can fully see everything that happened and
Yeah,
why.
Yeah.
and this movie just doesn't do that. It just like,
Like even
oh,
even
water that
Until
makes you
Dawn.
explode.
Let Merrick
Yeah.
talk.
Go ahead, Mo. Sorry.
It's just, oh, water that makes you explode. Why? I don't know.
Well, they said it was like all these things are a manifestation of her traumas or whatever. The water that makes you explode, that's your self-destructive tendencies. You Clover, you're the engine that makes this go. I'm like, okay, so what is this? Are you magic? Do you
What-
have a machine? Did you cast a spell on the
What-
land?
What does any of that mean?
Why is everyone turning into Wendigos? Why is this a Wendigo spot? Did we
The
forget
Wendigo
that we
factory?
ate people and that's what happened? They put in the mine collapse just to say, oh, the town is destroyed. But like in the game, the mine collapse was the catalyst for why the miners turned into Wendigos, because they were trapped down there and they ate people. Like that was important because
This
it
dude
added
tortured
to the
them to
story.
that point.
But exactly, Merrick, they don't explain anything. And then how do they win, Merrick? How do they solve the problem?
She moves Dr. Hill's coffee under the leaky pipe in the ceiling, and then
And he set
drinks
it
it and
down 2
explodes.
inches next to.
riddle me this: what do you make coffee with? Did he bring his own water from home to make the
Yeah.
coffee?
Does he not
Did
live
you just
there?
spawn in with it? Did you just spawn in with it?
He was there for 13 nights.
That's the other thing. Is it actually 13 nights, or does he just reset every night with them?
Yeah,
Like,
does
that's
he
the other, like, does time pass outside of this now, or like, does it just go the 13 nights, and then once the 13 nights are up, time continues until the next people come in? Like, they don't explain anything.
They don't. They don't.
They just expect you to accept it and move on.
It's crazy. Anyone else have any other gripes about Until Dawn diet?
Makes me sad talking about this Pathetic movie.
Timu Until Dawn.
It. Okay, so after the movie, I talked about it with my dad, and he brought up the Ghostbusters cartoon.
Mm.
After the movie came out, and they did a Ghostbusters cartoon, and it was nothing like the movie, and everyone was upset about that. That's
Yeah.
what this is.
So much to the
Exactly.
point that
Oh.
they had to release a new cartoon that's called The Real Ghostbusters.
Let's hope
Real.
for the real Until Dawn
I
movie.
wish there was a The Real Until Dawn. That's one of the things that makes me the most angry about this is because they've got PlayStation's seal of approval on this, and
How?
last year I believe it was the like 10-year anniversary of the game, like, and they released a remaster. So everyone who played the game back then is getting back into it again, and everyone who missed out on it back then is doing it for the first time. So like this would have been the height of like Until Dawn's like renaissance, like a resurgence in its popularity. This would have been a great time to do that. However, they just chose not to. And they made this awful mess of a movie, and they've lost their opportunity. I don't think they can just make one now. With that being said, let's roll on straight into the rankings. Taylor, we actually saw this twice just so we can squeeze you and Merrick into the podcast. Would you
Also,
want to kick us off?
thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Mo, do you want to go first?
Sure,
You
I'll
go
go
first.
first. I'm gonna preface this by saying, had it had been a different movie, I mean the same movie but not called Until Dawn,
Yeah,
it probably would have been ranked higher. I'm gonna give this 3 stars.
nice.
3 out of 10.
Nice.
I also probably would have ranked this higher if it was not branded like it was. I'm giving this 2. My heart is broken.
Really?
I'm crying.
Fair enough. Fair statement, I think. Isaac?
I'm giving it a 2 out of 10. This was ass. It was horrible. I hated this completely.
Yeah, I'm also going to be giving this a 3, same as Merrick. I admire some of the practical effects that they did. I think like the exploding people and when it wasn't just complete CGI was pretty good. The Psycho getting his head smashed in was probably one of the most immaculate and best looking practical effects I've seen in a horror movie to date. That one shot literally is like the best part of the movie because it's just so well done, and then the rest of it is just a squandery of the game. So
Yeah,
Oh,
this isn't Until Dawn.
no, it's
It is not.
Even
If you want
even if you put the
Until
This
game
is make
Dawn?
it. This is make it to the morning.
yeah. Even if you put the game aside and say, okay, just judge it by its own thing, it's still not good.
I
It's
still
still
can't
not
rank it
good.
high.
if you are wanting Until Dawn, don't bother with the movie.
Play the game.
Play the game.
game.
It's
Yeah.
still good.
Play the game.
It still holds up. It holds up immaculately
Really
well.
does.
Taylor can say so. She
All
just
of them
played it.
do. I'm super excited for Directive 80. What is it, 8020?
80/20, yeah. There's a new
Yeah.
Supermassive game. Season 2 of Dark Pictures Collection starts this year, and I'm hyped for it. It's gonna be pretty good. All right, well, Merrick, Taylor, thank you so much for joining us on this trip to hell and your glowing review of it after the fact.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Awesome. Moving on to our next movie, we have the new Ryan Coogler movie Sinners, starring Michael B. Jordan. There's a shocker.
Yeah.
Isaac, please take us away with the description, please.
Trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their Mississippi hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back.
White people. No.
I mean, they didn't say it, but they said
They didn't
it.
say white people, but it was white people. All right. I'll start off with the positives. The music in this movie was fucking banging.
It was great. Like, it was really, really good.
Yeah.
Like, it was like a mixture. It had some blues. It had some like Irish like folk music type stuff. Like, it was really good.
It was really good. I was actually shocked by how much I was enjoying all the music. Because, I mean, it's not really like a musical, but it's a movie with a lot of songs in it and like song sequences, which there is a difference. And as someone who doesn't really like care for, movies with a lot of songs in it, the songs in this were actually pretty good. Like the main guy, I forget his name, like the kid with the guitar, he was hella talented. Like, he's a great
Oh, he had a
singer.
great voice.
If
Yeah, I don't know what
if that is
the
his
main
actual
kid's
voice
like.
and they didn't just dub him over, but if that is his actual voice, he's phenomenal. He's a great singer.
That is a good point. Yeah, I don't even know that guy's. I don't know. I can't find it actually because he doesn't even show up in like the cast when you look up the cast of the movie.
It's fine, whatever.
That's weird. Anyway, no, he was hella talented. Like all the scenes where he was singing was like top notch.
Hmm. The vampires as well, they were very good.
Oh
My-
yeah, I really like the way that they portrayed them.
Yeah.
Like I like the way they looked, like where their eyes kind of glowed, and like the main character vampires all had like different colors
Mm-hmm.
for their eyes and stuff too. That was really dope.
My only gripe is that they weren't in the movie enough on the
True.
vampire.
Like
film,
it
'cause,
took us over an hour to get to that point of the movie.
Yeah, that's where the main problem with this movie I have comes in, is that it's really slow to start, and it's really not that exciting just watching them ride around in a car and meeting up
Like,
with
it
other
just
people for most
yeah,
of the
like
movie.
they're the biggest drawback that this movie has is that it spends a lot of time, arguably too much time, like introducing you to the interpersonal lives of all of these characters to set up an emotional punch when they die later. But the problem therein lies is that you have already said who is going to be dying
Yeah,
in the trailer.
Yeah, in the trailer, you already have like specific characters are gonna die, so you can't really get too invested. And even the ones that you don't, or if you didn't see the trailer, like, you're here to see a vampire movie, so like you're not really invested in any of the characters. You're just like, boring. Get to the vampire part. And not saying you
Yeah.
can't have like good characters in this kind of thing, or like that you shouldn't
It's-
spend time with it, is that some movies don't give you enough time to get attached to the characters, so that when they kill them it doesn't matter. But in this one, it gives
Yeah.
you too much time, so that you just get like, you're just defeated by like all this just talking and stuff, when at some point there's going to be vampires that show up, and like that's what you care about.
Yeah, it's a trend I'm noticing all too much recently, is that movies that seem as though they are meant for you not to have seen any promotional or trailers or anything for the movie in order to get the full effect of the movie. Like, it's been happening more and more often, where it's like, man, if I knew absolutely nothing about this movie would actually have some good moments in it, some good twists and turns, and like things like that. But like, because I've seen literally anything about this movie, it's like I'm robbed of some part of watching it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not quite
It's-
to the level that Companion
No,
was. 'Cause
Companion,
Companion was
terrible.
abysmal.
But
The
the
Companion was abysmal because of that. But like the trailer for this shows you enough of the movie to get that thing that you're feeling. Because like if I would have gone into this completely blind, like I would just went, oh hey, Michael B. Jordan movie coming out. All right, cool, let's go see that. Like it's like it's like this like two brothers, starting up a club, all this stuff, like down south. All right, this is kind of a cool vibe. I like this. The music's banging, and then people start dying, and you're like, oh shit, fuck. Like, that would have been better. But like,
yeah, I think
like in the trailer, they show you some people who already die.
yeah, the first trailer where they don't really show you anything, and we were still kind of like hesitant as to whether we were gonna see it or not, because the first trailer didn't show us anything. That's why
Yeah.
we've been kind of like limiting the what trailers we watch, because right now we're not seeing the new 28 Days Later trailer, we're not seeing the new Together trailer, and we're not seeing the new Superman trailer, because I think what we've gotten of them so far has piqued our interest to a point where we don't want to risk anything like that happening to these.
Yeah.
Because especially Together. I think that was like the first trailer that came out for Together. That's all you needed. That's all you needed. I'm
Yeah.
already on board.
That's all I need and all I want.
Exactly. I don't want to see any more of that. I don't want to, because they might do something. But like as you said, in the second trailer for Sinners, there's a shot of the main vampire burning alive at the end of the movie.
Yeah, not only that, there's the scene where fucking like they spend so much time in the beginning of the movie setting up this relationship between one of the like two of the characters in the movie as like this forbidden relationship, like they're not supposed to be together or whatever. Like one of them is trying to be, I'm too, you're too good to be with me kind of thing or whatever. And like they set that up. She's a vampire in the trailer.
Yeah, she is.
Now, I will say it does set up it's not, that's more for later in the movie when you find out that those two, spoiler alert, those two didn't die. They actually went on and they're like still together and everything. Like it kind of sets that up, which kind of lessens that blow a bit. But it's still you're still like in the moment in the movie you're like, well, I can't get invested in this relationship because I know she's gonna die.
You knew,
or at least know she's gonna turn into a vampire.
You knew he was too. Like that was the highlight of the trailer, was him banging his head on
Well,
the other side of the door.
Until we got to a certain point in the movie, I didn't know whether or not he was going to turn into a vampire or if he was just gonna get like mind controlled or something.
No, they said that ain't your brother, and then he had fangs and he banged his head on the door. He's a vampire.
Oh, but still, like there's some obvious like stuff from the beginning that kind of adds to some more emotional weight, but they did too much in the beginning. Like the scene where he goes and visits that like his old wife or whatever.
Yeah.
And like visits his son, their baby's grave or whatever. Like that was that was necessary for the final shot of the movie where, he lets go and he goes and he sees them in the afterlife and everything.
Yeah.
Like that's necessary. But like they also set up like four other like interpersonal relationships that didn't matter by the end of this movie.
Yeah. Like they spent and it's not even like, oh, we spent like a half hour go that. They spent a whole hour setting up the party before they even got to the party part. And I'm like, dude, please. It's gonna be daylight again before the vampires even show up.
Also,
and
they're terrible business owners.
What do you mean?
They were in the red on night 1. Like, what the fuck? Opening night in the red.
As like they were attacked by vampires. They can't get more red than that.
fair.
Um,
But
there was one little nitpicky thing that I thought was really stupid, like face palmy stupid. So
yeah.
there's this legend. The whole movie center around the legend of like people whose like musical talent and singing is like so beautiful and so powerful that it like breaks the veil between the living and the dead or something like that. Um, and during the party scene, they have a cool shot where they will like pan around the room and there will be like other people from history and like all throughout time who are insinuated to also have this gift. Like there was like a Chinese like singer lady and like a couple African people, and then it
There's
twists
some
into the more like
dancers.
modern one. Like they had Jimi Hendrix and like his guitar and
Mhm.
whatnot, and then they put in like Nicki Minaj. Basically, it's just some like ratchet chick who's quote unquote throwing dad ass in a circle, and I'm like, I don't know about that one, man. I don't know if the gods of life and death are down to twerk it with Megan the Stallion. You know what I mean? I mean, unless it's
That's funny.
She-Hulk, unless She-Hulk is one of the the life and death spirits.
Oh,
It sucked the life out of me. I don't know. Could be. It's a possibility. I thought that little inclusion just dressed up like a literally she was dressed up like every single woman on Nick Cannon's like
all,
rap
all of the
show.
women,
Yes, all of the women.
all women.
What is that called? Nick Cannon's like
Oh,
rap
Wild
and
and Out,
yeah, like every single woman on Wild and Out, like she was dressed like one of them, and she was
Wild and Out girls. Yeah,
quote unquote throwing that ass in a circle, and I'm like, I don't
yeah,
know about that one. I don't know about that one, Chief, but I don't know.
yeah. I don't really have much else to say about this. Like, there were some negatives, like the movie took too long,
Oh,
but
dude,
that's the only biggest one that I have.
dude, the end credit rest of the movie.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a stupid place to put that. There were people that left our theater because they're like, oh, the credits are over, whatever. They put an entire, like, almost 10-minute scene after the beginning credits.
Yeah,
And, like, and by the beginning credits, I mean, like, a mid-credit scene that was, like, 10 whole minutes that serves as an actual ending to the movie.
yeah,
That people just flat out missed because they thought that the movie was over. I mean, this ain't Marvel.
it's true. I mean, they were kind of quick with the end credits. Like, it was only like 2 minutes into it. Like, we had gotten up and like walked out to like the ramp, like down out to the door.
Like the hallway,
Yeah,
yeah.
we had gotten like that far before it started up again, and so we just watched the rest of it there. Um, but yeah, like, and then like that's as for a mid-credit scene, it was way too long.
If this hadn't
Just put
been
it at the
our
end.
like last
Like,
movie we
why?
had that day,
No, it
like
was. It
we would have
wasn't.
missed that.
It
It
wasn't.
was.
We were
Oh, it
going to
was.
another movie.
Did we just have enough time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, my bad. Usually we don't. But no, you're absolutely right. Just put it at the end. Like there would have been no problem. You could have literally done like a X amount of years later kind of fade or
Yeah,
whatever,
fade and
and
then
then to him.
oh,
But no,
fade.
they
Just a
like
black
did this thing
Isaac.
where it's like, yeah, fine. By
I'm
Odin's
giving you-
fade.
Shut up! I'm giving you shit. I'm just giving you shit. Go ahead.
but but they did like the end credits like before the end credits scene served as like this thing where you like watched this dude like go through his phases in life, like the main character and all that. But like that also made no sense because the last scene you see before the credits, this dude like renouncing music or something, wasn't it? Or you say I had to or whatever. He
I'm
said he
not
wasn't
sure.
gonna bother with this gift no more.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't
I
know
don't
what
know.
I was doing. They should have just put that at the end. It wasn't worth it.
True. Like literally, the other thing you got out of that was like those two characters I mentioned before are still alive.
Yeah. Well, as vampires, so undead. All right, moving on to the rankings here. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a pretty high 6 out of 10. It is phenomenal music and really, really cool vampires, but not enough of them for a movie. There's just a lot of other stuff that's kind of dragging its feet until it gets to that point where there's the cool music and the cool vampires, and I just don't think there's enough of either on screen or in the movie at all. It's a fairly good movie. I'm pretty sure other people will like it a lot more than me. But like personally,
Oh yeah,
I don't think there was enough to, bring it
Yeah.
any higher than this.
This movie has like a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes or something
I'm
like.
aware. I'm the contrarian. I
Yeah.
really like the music. Really like the vampires.
I mean, I'm giving this movie like a really low actually. You know what? No, I'm also giving this a 6 because I was gonna give it a low 7, and then I thought about what I have in my top of my 6s, and I'm like, it's not better than that. So yeah, no, I'll give it a 6. Like it's an all right movie. It just kind of dragged a bit. The emotional stuff was weird, and then I mean, we said it, or I did say earlier that they didn't say that the main bad guy was white people until they did, and the bad guy at the end of the movie was the Klan.
Hey, now, Christianity was also the bad guy. Isaac, come on.
True, and this is not me saying the Klan is a good thing. It is not, but at the same time,
like you could have just ended the movie without shooting up an entire Klansman. Not
yeah.
not that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying.
See, it's hard to like
it seems
say
like,
something about it.
It seems like an unnecessary add-on that doesn't connect to the rest of the movie.
Yeah, like they threw it in at like the very end of the movie.
Yeah, because there was like, but it connects because this and because that, and you didn't know that was about this. And I'm like, well, okay.
Like the vampire dude told them about this solely because like the guys that they had turned into vampires were part of the Klan that was coming to kill them in the morning, and it's like
the first two.
Okay. It's like, okay. You're kind of just throwing that in as a B plot here now. It's kind of just a random side note here.
Yeah. Like it kind of comes out of nowhere is what I'm saying. Is that they didn't build up to it at all. Anyways, we're not supposed to continue discussing the movie after the rankings.
True.
Moving on
I think we've said it all we can about it.
Moving on to our next movie of the night, we have The Accountant 2. Isaac, take her away.
Forensic accountant Christian Wolf teams up with his estranged but highly lethal brother to track down mysterious assassins. So, this movie, I want to say I like this movie. I have one negative, one big one.
You miss Anna Kendrick. Well, don't worry, Isaac. She's coming back in the third movie. Hell yeah! Don't cry.
Okay. But no, my problem is that this isn't the first time that this has happened in movies, but having this all over the media for the movie, it ruins a big thing in the first movie. Well, so if you see this and you had never even heard of the accountant movies before,
this is why
you'd never heard of them.
To watch the movie.
Well, yes, but it's also a problem
because you wouldn't have remembered it. Isaac is upset.
What's also a problem with it?
Isaac is
upset. Well,
it
is still a problem.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
It's all over the stuff.
Isaac is upset. Isaac's upset because they spoilers. They spoil that whatever his name is, the Punisher, the Punisher guy is Christian Wolf's brother, because they do it. It's like a little brother team up thing. Like he calls in his brother to help.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a twist at the end of the first movie, is that that's his brother
So-
because they're just kind of like hunting each other the whole time. Which
Yeah,
is
so if
why
you're like
is-
me, who never, not even if it's like, I understand you. I'm not really upset about that. I'm also upset for everyone. Like, say someone saw this poster, right? And they're like, "Oh, this looks cool. I didn't know that this was like, this is the second one. Oh, there's a first one. This looks like an interesting movie.
The
And this is
poster
a movie about
behind
this
you?
dude and his brother." Yeah, like you look at this, and
Does
it's like,
it say
oh,
brothers on it? Because most movies will
no,
just have the good guy and the bad guy. Such
true.
as the
But what
Bullet
I'm
Train
saying is,
poster.
no, what I'm saying is, you see this, or you
Yeah.
see the trailer for this, and you're like, "Oh, that looks cool. Oh, it's the second one. Cool. I'll watch the first one, and then I'll go see the second one." And you're like, through the whole movie, you know that that's his brother,
Well,
and they
if
don't
you-
acknowledge it till the very end.
Yeah. So the first time you see the trailer, you can probably get away with like not fully remembering everything about it. But as for us, where we see the same trailer for the same movie like 4 times a day, like
Yeah.
4 times a week, or not a week, a month, 4 times a month. It kind of gets ingrained into your head, so that got ruined for it. Movie itself, though, I'm kind of digging the more comedic angle that they took with this one.
Oh, I loved it. It was so good. It was a very welcome change to the tone of the first movie.
Yeah.
Like the tone, not to say that the tone of the first movie was bad. The tone of the first movie was great, actually. Had this very serious thing, and like they kind of poked fun at, him being kind of weird and stuff like that. But it was more of like an action, like with like a underscore of comedy and romance. Was the first one?
It was more like an action
And
mystery thriller, because there was the whole like, where's all this going?
Yeah.
Who's behind all this?
yeah, but the second one is definitely like a buddy cop family movie.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say family, because there are an awful lot of people getting shot in the head, but
I'm talking about like buddy cop,
oh, you
like
mean,
as in they're a family.
you mean that in as in family.
Family. I don't have my shades. Family.
You mean in the Vin Diesel term, family?
Yeah, like that kind of thing where it's like
Yeah.
we do this together, and it's like there are a lot of really good like brother moments in the movie.
Oh yeah, any
Like-
scene where they're just like the scene where they're like hanging out on top of the RV and just like shooting shit with each other. These
Yeah.
two work phenomenally off of each other. I gotta give them props for that.
I mean, Ben Affleck's been around the block for a while now, and like him being able to work with this guy, like this is a great combo. Like I would love to see. I wish that this guy had played someone in the DC universe when Affleck was still Batman. Because I would have loved to have seen, like, I don't know who they would have picked to play him, but he would have been a good, like, there would have been a lot of good back and forth with those two.
Yeah, I could probably come up with something that's my area of expertise, if you will. But we're in the middle of a thing. Let's see. Negatives. Any negatives?
Not really a whole lot. I mean, the way the movie is shot is very, very well done. Like the pacing is great. It gives you enough of like it gives you enough of like the story to advance it. I did like, even though we had watched the first one like, what was it? Not even a couple days ago before this.
Yeah,
It was like a week before. Yeah, I spent like the first 20 minutes of the movie. I forgot that J.K. Simmons was in the first one. I forgot who that person was. I forgot who this person was. Like, it wasn't until they mentioned that he used to be the thing and then he put her there. I was like, oh yeah, this thing. Yeah, I remember this. All right. That was, so if like you hadn't seen the movie in a while, you could be confused about that, but that's any movie, honestly. I like that they fleshed out the institute a bit more. I
Yeah.
can't remember what it's called. Like I like that they had like a full-blown team of like I don't know what the term is, like autistic kids basically, I guess.
No.
But they had a whole team of autistic kids like helping him and it was really cool.
Yeah. I thought like really fleshing into that because that was a great twist at the end of the first movie, revealing what that was, and like that was kind of blew my mind a little bit. Like I love big twists at the end of movies that recontextualize everything, and then the
Yeah.
second movie gives you a better chance to really flesh out what that is and what they do and how they help. And it did a really good job fleshing those out. Um, One of my favorite parts, all the T-shirts that Ben Affleck wore.
Oh, it's so
You
good.
may not know this about me, but I collect T-shirts that were in movies. Like not like T-shirts with movies on them or like a design for something. No, T-shirts that characters are wearing in movies. I have. Let's see. I have the Slusho shirt from Cloverfield. I have the Freaky shirt that Star Wars wore in Volume 3. I have the cat face shirt that one of the bullies from It wore, and I just picked up the shirt that Kumar wore when he and Harold went to White Castle. And I'm
Yeah.
always looking to expand that collection. So if any of these shirts drop in real life, I'll be sure to nab them. They look pretty
Yeah.
good. And I mean, that's the kind of shit an autistic kid would wear, and I know because I want to wear them.
Because and how do I know that? Because I am one of them.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Want to see my Rubik's Cube collection?
No.
Hey,
That's marriage.
I have that too. I just only collect 3x3s
Okay.
because I know how to do them.
Yeah. Again, I think the comedy, just twisting it towards of kind of like more comedy action, was definitely
I
the right way to go with this. The first one
Yeah, they
itself
made
is a nice, like, self-contained, like, mystery crime action, meant to be taken a little bit more seriously. But then this one being a more lighter interaction between Ben Affleck and his brother is I think is the perfect route.
yeah, there were some moments that really stuck out to me because like there's the part where he starts a bar fight solely because he knows his brother would have more fun if he's fighting.
Yes, yes, I
So
thought
like he
that was
does that.
fantastic.
I also like that they gave him this like they gave Ben Affleck like they gave him this like he's looking for love angle.
Yeah.
The first one being I love the first one being that he signed up for a speed dating thing and then effectively like jailbroke their entire system cuz he just put in the answers that he knew people would want to hear
Yeah,
to get the most amount of people to come to his table.
Yeah, he gained the algorithm. That
Yeah.
was crazy. All right. Anything else?
Mm, not really. I mean, the only thing this movie has that is it's kind of funny actually because I'm realizing now because I brought up Batman earlier and I'm realizing as I'm saying this the only problem the movie had was that these guys have access to all this technology and everything and like where do they get the money for it? And then I remember duh, he's an accountant
It's
for
the account.
fucking mob bosses.
Exactly.
Yeah. So he has millions of dollars to throw to help this institute or whatever. Uh which is funny because he's rich and he writes that he's still Batman. Like he's just autistic Batman, which for some people is just Batman.
Come on. Come off it.
depending on what headcanon you subscribe
Come
to.
off it. Anyways, moving on to the rankings, I'm gonna give this one a pretty solid 7 out of 10. Outside of what we've discussed, it's kind of a run of the mill action movie. Nothing too out of the box. But I think the angle that they took it into more of a brother comedy. I think they work really, really well off of each other. I could just watch a movie that's just 2 hours of John Bernthal and Ben Affleck sitting on lounge chairs on top of a RV and just like talking shit about each other. I could just watch that for 2 hours. They work really, really well together. I think the turn that they took in this really paid off for it, and a pretty decent sequel, even after like what 9 years was it? Something like
Something
that.
like that, probably.
Pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. No. This. I don't really have a whole lot of criticisms of this. It's a. I think I'm also gonna give this a pretty good 7 out of 10. Like it was just a lot of fun. I found myself genuinely laughing through this movie, and like all the scenes were really nice because like they really did a lot of movies that attempt to do autism. Either they have one of two things: they either are autistic kid, or they go way too far in one direction, like they overplay it
Mm-hmm.
in a movie with it when it's an adult. Uh, but to see like a very high functioning adult, uh, portraying someone with autism, it worked really, really well. You did a fantastic job, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that it's nice to see him like get that right.
It's true. All right. Moving on to our last movie of the night, we have new from Blumhouse, Drop. Go ahead.
Ugh. Violet is a widowed mother who goes to an upscale restaurant to meet Henry, her charming and handsome date. However, her pleasant evening soon turns into a living nightmare when she receives phone messages from a mysterious hooded figure who threatens to kill her young son and sister unless she kills Henry.
Nice. All right. Now let me be the first to say, we had no faith in this shit.
None whatsoever.
It's
Literally none.
Blumhouse. The first thing that really happens spooky in the trailer is they text them a meme of like the guy coming out from behind the tree like this. It says me trying to ruin your night. And I'm like, come on, man. Come on, man.
This is Facebook. This movie was billed as Facebook memes the movie.
Yeah.
Like
Like Attack of the Killer Facebook meme. They even no, I gotta talk about it now. They even did like the burning Elmo meme, like with Elmo with his arms out with the fire. But they couldn't get the usage rights to Elmo. So there's just this random like red puppet guy doing the same thing. And that just completely took me off my mental game. Like
you died. You almost died. That was so funny.
I was not prepared to be threatened by bootleg Elmo today, okay? I was not ready for that. That was not on my bingo card. Not on the list, okay? You know we're out here losing faith in Blumhouse. Especially after
we are
in the Yard that just happened that was absolutely dreadful.
The only reason that we went and saw this was because you said that either Drinker or Charlie said it was good.
Charlie, yeah. Moist Critical, Penguin Zero. We were gonna skip this one entirely. Mm-hmm. And he posted a video saying, "Oh, this was actually good." And then I texted Isaac and I'm like, "Hey, I guess it's actually good." And then we went and see it, and it was actually pretty good.
I still went in extremely skeptically, by the way.
Yeah, and what do you think now?
No, this movie was actually surprisingly good. Like, it actually had really good, like, writing, and, like, the memes are still, like, really fucking dumb.
Yeah, but
like,
they stop being relevant, like, pretty fast. Like, then it just switches to text messages.
They stopped doing that and then went to text messages, and that was it. But the overarching premise of the movie was really interesting because they didn't give you a lot.
Yeah.
In the beginning. Like, they they kept you guessing till like the very end.
Mm-hmm. So I'd like to bring up what I was telling you about that is there's this I guess you could call it a theory or something, but like it's just how I like to understand like murder mystery movies or something like that. Like a who is it, a who done it, is the ABC structure. There's the suspect A, who it's not because it's way too obvious, and it's the person in the movie that the main character thinks it is, and it's not going to be them.
Oh.
There's person B who they want you to suspect. So it may not be who the character suspects at all, but it's the one who's going to be acting kind of suspicious to get you to accuse them. And most of the time it's not them either. And then there's person C, someone who is introduced and you kind of just like threw them out of your mind or something. And then that's the one who it's actually going to be is person C. So person A and person B are picked out immediately. Like they hand feed them to you like they all do. But I was lost on who person C was going to be. So if we want to get into spoiler territories here, because I don't think we can talk any further about this without saying like who it is or what's going on.
Not really.
They start the movie off and explain also in the movie there's scenes showing that the main character Violet was in a abusive relationship with her ex-husband. So I thought that it was going to be a twist that it was him, coming to take his revenge in some kind of way. Only to later find out, because the reason I thought that is because like that would be a good twist, because she kept talking about him like he's not in the picture anymore. But she wouldn't use the words "he's dead." She just said, "Oh, he's not around," or "He's not with us," or "He's not my husband anymore," or like "His dad's gone." But they wouldn't say like "He's dead," "He died," whatever. So they could twist like, "Oh, I never said he was dead, so he's still out there." But no, then they do a flashback scene where he gets fucking shot in the head and collapsed on the ground. So that threw that away. And then I was left without a guess. And I think the brilliance of this, especially for guys watching this movie, is that there's a character in the beginning introduced when she first gets to the restaurant. And he's like, what would you say, like 50s, 60s?
He's got gray hair.
Yeah, so he's kind of
that silver fox like
he's kind
thing
of an
going
older
on.
guy. He's kind of a little weird, and he introduces himself and he says like, "Oh, I'm here on a blind date. You're not her, are you? I'm just excited to get back out there and give this a try." And then all the dudes would be like, "Hell yeah, man! Get it on." And then his date shows up and she sees him and you can see like the despair on her face when she sees like who her date is.
Yeah,
she's, like, not happy.
You're like, bruh.
Like, this is my date, whatever. And then like every guy, like we had this to ourselves. But if there were other guys in the theater, I mean, I guess it was you and me. So yeah, every guy in the theater was like,
we're like,
not my
Leonard, man.
Not my guy.
Was it Leonard? Richard. Richard was his name.
I don't fucking know what his name is. His name is old guy.
His name was Richard. But he's like, oh man. And then there's a point even later
like,
where it calls back to him.
I feel bad for him.
Because
like,
his date leaves.
His date leaves. And then it's like, oh man. Not my man, not my boy. He's just trying to do this. But then, lo and behold, this was all a trap by Richard, the guy.
Yeah, it's also really cool, really interesting that so it has nothing to do with her and everything to do with with her date.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I'm sitting here and
get the date.
Because I'm sitting here thinking, oh, is her date like? That's another thing they keep pretty well hidden from you is like, because like when I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh, is he like a secret agent or something? And like they're trying to like kill him or whatever, or like something like that. But no, he's just a journalist who found out too much.
Yeah. So she wasn't even really important. She was just a pawn in the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking at points that her date could have been in on it some way, somehow. Like that's what I was expecting the grand twist to be, and even then it didn't do that.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be like maybe it's like a test or something, or like they're trying to frame her for something.
Yeah, but it's
Wherever.
not about her at all.
No, it's not about her at all. And like it actually had this really nice, sweet ending where they like after all is said and done, they both survive, and like he visits her in the hospital, or she visits him in the hospital. It's one of the two.
Stabbed.
Yeah, and she brings him McDonald's, and they have McDonald's as like a date thing, and it was like that's cute as hell. I love that.
I thought they had Wendy's.
Maybe they had Wendy's. It was some fast food joint.
Maybe they had non-copyright burger.
Probably.
They could have made up
Don't.
I don't know what it was.
It's just a bag. It's just a bag that just says "Don't sue us."
Yeah, they had Mendy's.
Mendy's, right? Mendy's, yeah.
Yeah.
McKendy's.
McKendy's, something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
McKendy's.
It was a nice refresher, especially from Blumhouse, to get something actually like decent and well written and
Decent. I mean, it wasn't anything. Oh my god, it's amazing. But it like I enjoyed myself,
Yeah,
and that's usually what I try to do. Like I usually know a Blumhouse movie is probably going to be pretty bad, so I just shut my brain off. But like a lot of the times recently, they've been trying to do like all this introspective stuff and all that, and it's like, fuck, this movie's making me think. Like. I didn't want to have to think, like, the only thing this movie made me think of is who done it, and that's it. That's the only question you need to know.
Yeah. So then you can focus on that, because those are fun, because you're thinking alongside the character. Whatever they find out is something new to add to your knowledge, what you're thinking out. So it kind of ropes you into it. Can you guess who it is? It's like you're playing along at home kind of thing. But with other horror movies, you don't get that, so you can't rely on the twist or the puzzle to do that. And you know, this was a very decently well written one. Even me, who's seen like, you know, more whodunits and secret slashers than, you know, your average Joe, like even I had like 3 guesses and they were all wrong.
Yeah, like it was pretty good. It was a good movie, good twist. Like didn't overdo the stuff that we thought was gonna make it all goofy and shit. It was good.
Nice. All right, moving on to the rankings for a bit. I'm gonna give this a pretty low 7 out of 10. You know, for a Blumhouse movie, that's a really hard number to get unless you're teaming up with Five Nights at Freddy's.
That is high praise for a Blumhouse movie.
Blumhouse is really, really good at fucking up their movies. So you know,
when they're left to their own devices. Yeah. When they're left to their own devices, they are very shit at it.
Yeah, if they're working in like tandem with someone else with a different studio, then they have to be on their best behavior. But when they're just like, you know, it's January, I could use, you know, at least a couple million. Let's make Night Swim.
Yeah. I'm also giving this movie a 7 out of 10. I really thoroughly enjoyed this whole movie, actually. Like all the moments were very well done. All of the like ways she tries to like get out of it, because first thing you do when you are given like constraints is you try to break them.
Yeah.
Like you try to get around them. So it was really cool watching her try and figure out ways around it, and some of them almost succeeding. Like it was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Cool. All right. That will do it for this episode of the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Isaac, can you give our lovely viewers a little sneak preview at what we'll be looking at next time?
Next time we will have the Thunderbolts.
Great.
We have The Surfer, a new Nick Cage movie. Always excited to see some Nick Cage. And a new Hispanic horror movie that isn't La Llorona, Rosario.
Nice. That will be content.
That will be, yes.
All right, sounds good. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe because it keeps us going back to the theaters and bringing these videos back here to you. Be sure to check out our Letterboxd accounts on screen now. And until next time, guys, that's a wrap.
Roll credits.